Listen, I need to tell you something that sounds completely backwards. DJI just delayed their most groundbreaking camera ever, the Osmo Pocket 4, and I'm actually celebrating. Yeah, you heard that right. They pushed the launch from December 2025 to January 2026, and after digging into what's really happening behind the scenes, I'm convinced this delay might save this product from disaster. But here's the kicker. The camera itself is already perfect. It passed all the tests. So, what's the holdup? Stick with me because by the end of this video, you'll understand why this delay could be the difference between a good camera and a legendary one. Plus, I'm going to show you a feature that's never existed in any camera this size, something that solves the biggest headache every content creator deals with daily. Let's dive in. The creator's nightmare. Okay, before we talk about the Pocket 4, we need to address the elephant in the room. Every single content creator watching this video knows exactly what I'm talking about. You spend hours shooting the perfect footage. Beautiful lighting, great composition, everything's dialed in. You're thinking about your YouTube video, maybe a tutorial or a vlog. Then reality hits you like a truck. You need content for Instagram Reels, for TikTok, for YouTube Shorts, and suddenly, that gorgeous horizontal footage you captured, it's useless. Well, not useless, but compromised. Here's what happens next. You open your editing software and you crop, you zoom in, you lose resolution, you lose your carefully planned composition. Those beautiful wide shots that showed the environment? Gone. That perfectly framed two-shot with you and your guest? Now it's awkwardly tight headshots. You're basically throwing away 60 to 70% of your image just to fit a 9:16 vertical frame. Some of you tried the shoot vertical, crop for horizontal approach. That's even worse. Now your YouTube videos look amateurish because you're zoomed in way too tight, cutting off important visual information. Others tried shooting everything twice, once horizontal, once vertical. Congratulations, you just doubled your shooting time, doubled your storage needs, and you're still not getting optimal quality for both formats. And don't even get me started on the just use your phone crowd. Sure, phones shoot great video now, but where's your stabilization? Where's your gimbal? Where's your pro-level color science and variable aperture? You're sacrificing so much just to have a device that can rotate. This has been the impossible choice for creators: quality or convenience, professional results or platform optimization, until now. The revolutionary solution. So here's where DJI just broke the rules of physics, or at least it feels like they did. The Osmo Pocket 4 doesn't make you choose anymore. It has two cameras, not side by side like your smartphone's dual camera setup. We're talking about two completely separate cameras stacked vertically on the same gimbal head. Two optical systems, two sensors, two lenses, operating simultaneously. Now, I know what you're thinking. Okay, so it's got two cameras. Big deal. My phone has three cameras. But here's why this is completely different and borderlands genius. The primary camera uses a 1-inch 50-megapixel sensor with a variable aperture. This is your horizontal content beast. It shoots traditional 16:9 footage with all the specs we'll get into in a minute. Professional quality, cinema ready. This is handling your YouTube videos, your long-form content, your landscape shots. But here's where it gets wild. The secondary camera doesn't use a traditional rectangular sensor. DJI engineered a custom 1.3-inch square sensor. Not 16:9, not even 4:3. Square. Specifically 13.2 millimeters in each direction. Why does this matter? Because when you flip to vertical mode, you're not cropping a horizontal image. You're capturing native vertical footage at full resolution. Think about what this means for a second. When you're shooting, both cameras are active. The gimbal is simultaneously balancing and stabilizing two optical systems. The camera is recording from both sensors. You switch from horizontal to vertical with literally one tap, and you're getting native resolution optimized for each orientation. No cropping, no compromises, no choosing between quality and format. DJI borrowed this concept from their Air 3S drone, which uses dual cameras for different zoom ranges. But miniaturizing this technology for a handheld gimbal camera, that's engineering on another level. The gimbal had to be completely redesigned. The weight distribution, the motors, the stabilization algorithms, everything had to account for two optical systems working in perfect harmony. And here's another brilliant detail. The dual camera setup enables seamless zoom switching. You get 2x and 4x zoom with zero quality loss because you're actually switching between two real cameras, not digitally zooming on one sensor. It's optical zooming without moving parts. One camera handles wide shots, the other handles tighter framing. This is basically like carrying two professional cameras in your pocket, one optimized for horizontal storytelling, one optimized for vertical content. Same device, Same gimbal, same stabilization, same shoot. You're covering every platform, every format, every aspect ratio with professional quality. That's not an incremental upgrade. That's a paradigm shift. Specs that actually matter. All right, let's talk numbers. But I'm not just going to throw specs at you. I'm going to tell you what these specs actually mean for the content you create. Because here's the thing, megapixels and frame rates don't matter if they don't translate into better videos. Starting with video resolution, 6K at 30 frames per second is confirmed. That's 6,144 by 3,160 pixels. For context, that's nearly double the resolution of 4K. Why does this matter? When you're editing, you can crop in up to 50% and still have full 4K resolution. You can stabilize footage digitally without losing quality. You can punch in during editing to reframe shots. You've got so much resolution headroom that you're essentially future-proofing your content. But it gets better. 4K at 120 frames per second. That's high frame rate slow motion that looks cinematic, not choppy. Imagine capturing a moment, someone laughing, water splashing, a product being unboxed, and slowing it down to 5 times slower than real time while maintaining that buttery smooth 60 frames per second playback. That's the difference between a slow motion effect that looks amateur and one that looks like a high-end commercial. Now, there are strong rumors, and I mean really strong rumors from multiple reliable sources, that we might see 6K at 60 frames per second and even 4K at 240 frames per second. Is that confirmed? No. But even if we only get what's already confirmed, this thing is shooting specs that rival cameras costing 3 times as much. Here's where it gets really interesting. That square sensor for vertical content shoots 3K at 120 frames per second. That's specifically optimized for Instagram Reels, TikTok, and YouTube Shorts. You're getting slow-motion vertical content at resolution that looks stunning on mobile devices. Most creators are shooting vertical content at 1080p. You'll be shooting at almost 3 times that resolution. All of this is captured in 10-bit D-Log-M color profiles. For those who don't live in post-production, 10-bit color gives you over 1 billion color variations compared to 16 million in 8-bit. That means smoother gradients, more flexibility in color grading, and the ability to recover highlights and shadows that would be completely blown out or crushed in 8-bit footage. But here's the real game changer: Hasselblad Color Science. This is the first pocket camera to integrate Hasselblad's color profiles. DJI's been refining this partnership across their Mavic drone line for years, and now it's coming to handheld cameras. What does Hasselblad Color Science actually do? It's not just a fancy name. It's carefully calibrated color processing that delivers natural, accurate skin tones and rich dimensional colors straight out of camera. Most cameras oversaturate or add heavy contrast to make footage look punchy. It looks good in the moment, but gives you less flexibility in editing, and often makes skin tones look weird. Hasselblad's approach is the opposite: natural filmic colors that look expensive without heavy grading. If you've ever wondered why footage from high-end cinema cameras just looks better even before color grading, this is part of that secret sauce. Battery life gets a serious upgrade: 1,545 milliamp hours, up from 1,300 in the Pocket 3. That's nearly a 20% increase. Now, you're powering 2 camera systems, a larger display, and more processing power. So you might think that extra capacity gets eaten up. But early projections suggest over 200 minutes of recording time. That's more than 3 hours of continuous shooting. For most creators, that's an entire day of B-roll, interviews, and content capture without swapping batteries. The display grows to 2.5 inches with over 800 nits of brightness. Why does brightness matter? Because you're shooting outside. You're shooting in sunlight. You need to see what you're framing without squinting or putting your hand over the screen like you're trying to see your phone at the beach. 800 nits means you can actually use this display in direct sunlight and still see perfect focus, exposure, and composition. Wi-Fi 6 with 2x2 MIMO means faster file transfers when you're pulling footage to your phone or laptop, and more stable remote control when you're operating the gimbal from your phone. ActiveTrack 7.0 brings AI-powered subject tracking to a completely new level. We're talking eye tracking, facial recognition that works in profile, and even when you're partially obscured, and faster reacquisition when you walk behind something. But here's the really smart part: it uses depth data to predict movement, not just react to it. Traditional tracking systems follow you. They detect where you are and move to keep you in frame. ActiveTrack 7 predicts where you're going. If you're running, it anticipates your path. If you're gesturing, it understands the motion and doesn't get confused. This is machine learning trained on millions of hours of footage, understanding human movement patterns. It's the difference between a system that barely keeps up and one that feels like a professional camera operator is following you. The delay plot twist. So now we get to the juicy part. Why did DJI delay this camera? And why am I saying it's actually good news? Here's what's really happening behind the scenes. And I've got this from multiple sources close to the development process. The camera itself, the actual Pocket 4 body with both sensors, the gimbal, the processing, passed FCC approval in November 2025 under the model number OP041. That's a big deal. FCC approval means the hardware is production ready. It's not a prototype. It's not still being refined. The core product is done. So what's the problem? The accessories. DJI is building an entire ecosystem around the Pocket 4, and some of those accessories aren't meeting their quality standards. We're talking about things like enhanced battery grips, professional audio solutions, mounting systems, and potentially some kind of modular expansion system. These aren't minor add-ons. These are the things that take the Pocket 4 from a great camera to a complete professional toolkit. And here's why I'm actually relieved about this delay. DJI could have easily rushed those accessories to market just to hit the Christmas shopping season. They could have shipped them knowing they weren't quite right, and then fixed them in version 2 next year. But they didn't. They said, no, we're taking the extra time to get the complete experience right. This tells me a few important things. First, DJI learned from some past mistakes. Remember the Osmo Action 5 Pro launch? Initial units had thermal management issues. Some customers experienced overheating during extended 4K recording. DJI fixed it quickly, but the bad press and negative reviews hurt the product's reputation. They don't want a repeat of that situation. Second, it shows they're thinking about the ecosystem, not just the product. A camera is only as good as the accessories that support it. If you buy the Pocket 4 and then discover the audio solution is mediocre or the mounting system is flimsy, your entire experience is compromised. DJI is taking the time to ensure every piece of the puzzle is premium quality. Third, and this is the strategic part, the January 2026 launch window puts the Pocket 4 right at CES 2026 in Las Vegas. That's the biggest consumer electronics show in the world. Every tech journalist, every YouTuber, every industry insider will be there. DJI can do a massive launch presentation, get hands-on demos to hundreds of creators simultaneously, and dominate the tech news cycle in early 2026. Compare that to a rushed December launch where the camera drops during the holiday chaos, reviews are mixed because the accessories aren't ready, and the whole thing gets buried under Christmas shopping and year-end content. The delay isn't just about quality control, it's about launching smart. Price B. Versions and who should buy. Let's talk money, because I know that's what everyone wants to know. Based on multiple leaks and retail sources, we're looking at 2 versions of the Pocket 4. The standard model will likely retail between $600 and $650. The Pro model with the full dual camera system and additional features is expected to land between $700 and $800. Now, I can already hear some of you saying, that's expensive for a pocket camera. And you're right, it is more expensive than the Pocket 3 was at launch. But let's break down what you're actually getting for that money, because context matters. A quality gimbal alone costs $250 to $350. Add a professional camera with a 1-inch sensor, and you're easily at $600 to $800. Now factor in a second camera system, Hasselblad color science, 6K recording, and AI tracking that rivals systems costing thousands. When you add it all up, the Pocket 4 Pro at $800 isn't expensive. It's actually incredible value. But here's the real question. Should you buy it? Let me break this down by use case. If you're a content creator posting to multiple platforms, YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, and you're constantly frustrated by the vertical-horizontal format dance, the Pocket 4 Pro is built specifically for you. You're the target audience. This camera solves your daily headache. If you're a vlogger who needs ultra-portable gear with professional quality, this is a game changer. You can travel with just the Pocket 4 and have everything you need: stabilization, tracking, multiple formats, long battery life. You're not carrying a gimbal, a camera body, multiple lenses, and batteries. It's all in one device that fits in your pocket. If you're a business creating social media content, product videos, or behind-the-scenes footage, the dual camera system means you shoot once and have optimized content for every platform. That's not just convenient. That saves hours of editing and reformatting time. Now, who should probably skip this. If you're primarily a photographer who occasionally shoots video, this might be overkill. If you only shoot for one platform, say you only do YouTube long form and never touch vertical content, the standard Pocket 3 or even Pocket 4 Standard Edition might be sufficient. If you already own a professional camera setup and you're happy with your workflow, this is a nice-to-have, not a must-have. The Pro model will be slightly heavier at around 190 grams compared to roughly 160 for the standard model. That extra 30 grams is the price of having two complete optical systems. For context, that's still lighter than most smartphones with a case on them. It's not a burden. Final thoughts in CTA. Here's what I think is really happening with the Osmo Pocket 4. DJI isn't just releasing another camera. They're fundamentally rethinking what pocket-sized content creation looks like in 2026 and beyond. The vertical-horizontal divide isn't going away. If anything, it's getting more pronounced as short-form vertical content continues to dominate social media, while long-form horizontal content remains king on YouTube and streaming platforms. Every creator I know is struggling with this. We're all trying to maximize our content across platforms without sacrificing quality or spending double the time shooting everything twice. The Pocket 4's dual camera solution is elegant, practical, and honestly, it's something I'm surprised nobody else thought of first. It seems obvious in hindsight, but the engineering required to make it work in such a small form factor is legitimately impressive. The delay to January doesn't concern me. It actually makes me more confident that DJI is committed to launching a complete polished product rather than rushing something to market. I'd rather wait an extra month and get the right accessories than buy something on day one and discover the ecosystem is half-baked. So here's what I'm doing, and here's what I think you should consider. I'm waiting for the CES announcement in early January. We'll get official specs, official pricing, and hopefully some hands-on time with the accessories that caused the delay. Once those details are confirmed, I'll be ordering the Pro model immediately. For my workflow, shooting content for YouTube, Instagram, and TikTok, this camera solves problems I deal with literally every single day. If you found this breakdown helpful, do me a favor. Hit that like button so more creators can discover this information. Drop a comment below telling me which version you're leaning toward. Standard or Pro? Are you waiting for reviews or ordering on day one? I read every single comment, and I want to know what you think. And if you want my full hands-on review when this camera launches in January, you need to subscribe and hit that notification bell. I'm getting this on launch day, and I'll have a complete review with real-world tests, sample footage, and comparisons to the Pocket 3 and competing cameras. You don't want to miss that. The Pocket 4 isn't just another camera. It's potentially the camera that changes how we think about multi-platform content creation. And that delay? It might just be the smartest thing DJI could have done. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.